You going to get us started with that theme song?
There we go.
That bass line is still spicy, Jared. After all these years.
You did a good job.
I mean, we did pay him $5.5 million for it, so it was well worth it.
Hey, we got what we paid for.
Hello and welcome to the Untranslatable podcast. Today we are talking about the fittest and the fattest. We're going to be talking about some countries with some of the fittest people and some countries with some of the thickest people. And we're going to talk about maybe some reasons why and also give all of you some tips. I've flown out for today's episode to Muscle Beach in Venice in Cali. It's a little hot. I'm wearing my hoodie here. But we're glad to be back today. And I am joined by my very fit and healthy co-host, my good buddy, Jared. What's going on, Jared?
Hi, Chad. You wearing the hoodie at Muscle Beach is kind of like someone at a pool, like with their shirt on. I'm
trying to cut, Jared. I'm trying to cut, get more shredded.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you're just trying to sweat out. Some toxins.
Yeah, the extra Taco Bell and Popeyes and everything else. You know.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But you have to have the hoodies with the cut-off sleeves. That's the move.
That's true. I don't own any of those, actually.
That's
I
really
need to
the
get
move.
one of those. That's how you know you're a true gym bro. Is if you have the bodybuilder style singlet underneath, where like it's just like a string, basically,
and it only like
and then
goes,
the hoodie.
It doesn't even go all the way down to like it only like goes halfway to the singlet thing, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like is it a crop top? Is that what they're called?
I mean, it's the dude bodybuilder version of a crop top. I think you could say for sure.
And then the hoodie with the sleeves cut off to where it's a short sleeve hoodie now.
That's the way to do it. That's how you know you're not to be reckoned with, Jared.
And then you can go running down the streets of Philadelphia.
You know what's funny though, Jared, about gym apparel and fitness apparel in general?
What's
is
that?
I think there's a lot of people out there who wear it who are very fit. But then there are also a lot of people who like to wear it because it's just super comfy.
It is very
comfortable. I
comfortable.
don't blame them. You know, I mean, athleisure wear, as some call it, is definitely very comfy.
I mean, I put real pants on maybe every. I mean, I haven't been to your house in a while, so I'd say every week.
So you haven't worn pants in forever, real pants?
I do when I go to your house and when I go to the grocery store, which are really the only two places I go, or the only time I put pants on. And yeah, I'm certainly not in the peak physical condition, but I am very comfortable. That's all that matters.
Yep. And hey, if you're wearing athleisure wear, at least you're always ready for that opportune moment if you do want to squeeze in a quick workout. Do some donut curls from the couch.
Yeah,
or some
I do have a
beer
kettlebell
curls.
under here.
You
So,
know?
I'm ready to go.
Kettlebells are the way to go, if you ask me. I love kettlebells.
All right. Well, there you go.
They're
Those are some
fantastic.
great tips.
There you go. Some early teasers for you. Absolutely. Well, Jared, I have some kind of exciting news. I am on the brink of looking into a van to turn into like a camper van and start doing some road tripping, and hopefully this will also lead to some new on the road-agains in the future. That's right.
Yes.
I'll be cranking some solid Willie Nelson while I'm trying to find the edge of that long white line there, Jared.
So how long?
For sure.
So you're serious about this?
Yep. Serious
You're-
as a heart attack, Jared.
That's a great untranslatable. Actually, it's not a great untranslatable.
I think that's
is
a good one for today. It's very apropos.
I guess so. But you've been looking around at all these vans, and at first I was, I don't want to say a car expert, but I know about cars and stuff, and I was trying to
I'd say you're a car expert.
I was trying to sort of, all right, sure, I'll take it. I can't say that though. I was trying to
fair.
sort of push you towards like a large SUV. You know, first you were looking at pickup trucks and putting something on the back, and I'm like, because I was thinking you still wanted like a car to use as a car,
Right?
And you're like, I want a camping rig.
Yep.
I was like, you're not hearing me. I don't I want a camping rig.
Yep.
And I said, well, then the van is the ultimate answer, really. I mean, if we're really being honest.
And that's when the wheels really started turning, Jared. All pun fully intended there, because you're right. Initially, I was looking at just a new car because my car's getting pretty old.
Yeah.
And I was looking at a Chrysler 300S, which is an awesome car. And so basically, I kind of already knew my price range, what I was looking at, which helped a lot, I think. And then, yeah, we talked about potentially a big SUV. You could take out the rear seats and then like easily sleep in that when you're doing road trips or whatever.
But it's still a usable, daily driver kind of thing.
Yep. And then when I came to the conclusion that really this is about...
Then you went pickup trucks for a bit, too, and you were talking about
Yep.
putting a camper onto the back of a pickup truck. That just seemed like a lot of work.
Yeah. Well, either way, I think this van will be a lot of work as well, but it's
Sure.
just different type of work.
But the thing I also mentioned about the van was, though, that with the truck, like you can't, with the van, I mean, you can just go now. Like you can get it, like even though you're not going to be fully kitted out with the greatest van life accessories.
Right.
You're not going to have...
I can't be posting hashtag van life on the gram just yet.
You're not going to have the proper mood lighting put in. Your
No
stove
surround
top.
sound system yet.
Yeah.
Right.
Your speaker system is not going to be on point yet. But you can easily throw a mattress in the back, get some supplies, and go camping in a van right away. Truck with the camper, I don't know. There's just more steps, I feel like, to just getting up and going.
And here's the other big thing. With the truck and the camper, you have to usually, well, unless you have the connecting windows, usually you have to get out of the truck and then climb in the camper.
That's true.
Whereas
true.
with a camper van, depending on how you partition it, if there's no partition, you just get up off your driver's seat and walk back there. I'm planning on putting some type of partition in there for two reasons. Number one, they say it's a lot better for climate control, which makes sense. And number two, it just makes things a little bit more private for when you're sleeping.
Yeah, sure. What sort of partition? Like a...
Well, some of the vans I've been looking at, and I'm looking at used vans, some of the ones I've been looking at, they already have the metal partition up. Some of those, it's okay. Other ones, the metal partitions I've seen, they're like 4 or 5 inches. They kind of jut out. And you and I were talking about this the other day, how that even those 4 or 5 inches, it might not sound like very much, but when you have such limited space, you want to really take advantage of as much of it as you can.
Right. Of course. Yeah, for sure. So I'm not a van expert, but I am a car enthusiast. So I do have some knowledge into the van life world. And some of these builds that people do, they're pretty intricate. Like they make use of very little space, very efficiently. But they also, the top, these top grammars really. Instagrammers. When I said grammars, I was like, that could be something else, I guess. These top grammars really make it seem like they're living a more luxurious life than you are in your house.
Right. Yeah, they do. But they obviously photograph the highlights, the beautiful views, all that. They don't photograph, the nights when there's tons of rain or snow and it's like super loud in the van.
What's my question is though more, what's your proficiency in building out?
Well, see, that's the thing is I've never really tried a project like this before. But, I feel like I can figure out not everything, but a good portion of it. A lot of the builds I've been looking at, it doesn't look super complicated. You just get certain types of wood and you build a frame for however you want the layout of your camper van to be, and you set it up that way. I do know a couple things that I want already. The bed I want ideally towards the back, and depending on the type of van I get, if I can lay horizontally, that will save a lot of space. So what some people will do is they'll lay their van out horizontally. You want to raise it enough so you can put some stuff underneath it or below it.
You could go horizontally and go fully stretch out.
I mean, dude, I'm not that tall. I'm like 5'8", 5'9".
Sure, I guess. I don't know how wide it is that way.
Right.
But yeah, I guess you could. What kind of bed do you get? How do you find a bed for a
So usually what I've seen
van?
people do is they make a bed frame and then they buy... I've also seen people buy a metal cot and actually just attach the cot to the vehicle somehow. But anyways, they make the bed frame, and then you buy like a 5 or 6 inch mattress pad, and you use that.
Okay.
And that seems to work pretty good.
Okay. Do you plan on putting like a stove and stuff in there?
I think eventually, yes, but
Not a priority.
Right. Well, it's a priority, but it's not probably the first priority. I mean, the first priority is figuring out how you actually where you want to put everything.
Yes. I feel like before you start building stuff, you definitely have to have the layout,
you need a floor
of
plan.
the whole
Exactly.
layout. Oh, there's got to be. Have you ever? I don't know how to make a floor plan, but I'm sure you could find some website.
Oh, I've already found them.
Oh, really? Where you can
yeah.
put in dimensions.
Generally, you can put in the ones I found. You put in the make or model of the van. And
so they're specifically van specific.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I would love to see that.
And
that seems like a lot of fun.
You can even buy plans. It costs $20, $30, $40, $50, but they...
So someone has built out a perfect like Econoline or a perfect Ford Transit setup.
Yep. And it's really crazy how intricate some of these builds are. The one thing I have to figure out, though, Jared, is if I go like completely empty on the inside, which would be easier to start out with, which was one of the trucks we were looking at. Well, it wasn't completely empty. It had the workbench and it had the cabinet in there.
Some simple shelves that are easy to take out.
Right. Whereas the other van we were looking at the other day, it wasn't completely empty, as in it still had the interior on the top and the sides. And the other tricky thing with building these vans out, Jared, is if it does have the interior, that adds an extra 2 to 3 inches out the side. So especially if you're trying to lay horizontally, it's not always good to have that interior there. So
at first I would think that would be a benefit. But that doesn't really work as any form of insulation, I imagine. So like
I don't think so. Yeah,
you can't feel like well, there's a partial. It's the interior is partially built, so that means that part's more insulated. I don't think that's how that works.
Right, I agree with you. Because if you've ever sat in a car in a hot day when the AC's off, it's not very well insulated because it's hot as hell in there.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Same with if it's freezing out. If it's freezing out, if I go into my car when it's really cold, my car's outside, it's not in a garage, and you can see your breath usually.
Yeah, that's true.
And so you want to make sure you insulate it. And I'm planning on bringing a couple instruments in there as well, Jared. So it's really important I have it insulated.
Yes. Oh man, what if you could somehow have like a keyboard built into, like where it's you don't play piano enough for that to be worth it.
Well,
but if you just had like a
built-in
built-in
is
somehow.
take my little. I have that little. How many keys is that? Is it? It's 2 octaves, I think. No, it's almost 3 octaves.
Oh, like
I have the little keyboard.
76 keyboards. The 76, I believe, because I think I have one of those too.
No, this one's even smaller. This is like that I use to like as a MIDI controller. But that one is pretty small, so you can play.
Oh, that's like
basic.
24 keys or something.
Right. Probably, I'm not going to count them right now. I would guess 24. Yeah, but yeah. So I've been actually though. It's funny. I have been looking into. I already have travel guitars, so I'm good on the guitars. But one thing that I've been looking into with this van.
I mean, the leisure. That's really what I want to know about. Is how you're going to make this thing cool and like a fun place to hang out.
Right. So, well, see, that's the other thing. I want to find a way, depending on how I build the bed. What I could also do, what I've seen is some people do is you have a couch going down the one side. So, say on the driver's side, you have a couch that goes almost the whole length of the van. Maybe it doesn't go the whole length because you have a cabinet, or that's also where some people might have a table with a sink and a stove, depending.
So it doesn't turn into something else. It's just a long bench. That's the sitting space.
But then at night, what you can do is you can fold it down into a couch. I've seen some builds like this where they do that. So you get kind of a.
And you're going to be building all of this stuff?
I'm going to try to, yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay.
I'm going to try to, but that's why I think at first.
You, just let you know. I'm just curious, because I don't think I could do it.
It's going to take time and patience, but I think you could. I might even have you come over here and help. We'll see.
I'll help.
I'll offer you pizza and beer.
I don't know if I want to get
involved
with saws and stuff. I'm not interested in losing a limb.
That's fair. That's fair. Thankfully, though, my dad has a lot of that equipment. So, like good saws, good equipment. So that will be good. But yeah, dude, I'm excited. But anyways, that one instrument, though, I've been thinking about getting to bring in the jam van is a ukulele bass. So these sound like a
ukulele
bass, but it's the size of like a big. Well, it's bigger than a normal ukulele.
Why a ukulele bass?
Because if I brought a regular bass with me, they're much bigger and longer than a guitar.
Oh, a ukulele bass just looks like it's not actually a ukulele.
Well,
I see. A ukulele bass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Interesting. Oh, I see it now. Sorry, the picture I was looking at, the scale threw me off. It is like a ukulele. It's so weird.
So they're pretty small.
So you definitely need a bass. You can't travel without a bass.
I mean, I'm gonna have a guitar. Also, I'm gonna bring I'm gonna put my old Focusrite in there probably as well. I can just keep that one in there. So I'll have a little studio in there.
So this is okay. What are you gonna?
I mean, you asked about my leisure time. I mean, what better thing to do?
I understand.
You know?
I misunderstood at first. You want to use it as like you want to make music on the road. At first, I'm like, are you gonna like just in case you're getting a band together of road dogs?
Hey,
and someone's
maybe.
like, I play the bass, but I didn't bring mine with me.
Right.
And you're like, I got one right here for you, buddy. Here's my ukulele bass.
Or maybe I go somewhere and there's already 2 or 3 guitar players. It's like, well, I got my bass right here.
That's
the further south I drive, the worse.
Yeah, if you come back in like 2 years and you start talking like that would be amazing.
Right. But the other thing though that I've been thinking about is to get a fridge or just do a cooler, because I've seen both. I've seen a lot of the minimalist van lifers generally will just have a cooler, and with a cooler, they say a lot of them. If you have your van properly insulated and everything, the ice in their coolers will usually last anywhere from 4 to 6 days, which is pretty good.
I'll say this. I got a brand new Igloo cooler, as you know. Did you know that? I don't know why
I do know that. Yeah, I remember we talked about it.
I used it once when I went on my trip to the middle of nowhere in Lisbon, Ohio. And I was kind of disappointed with not long. I was trying to think of the right way to how quickly the ice melted, I should say. I probably had like a good day of solid ice. Really, what it had to be used for was like a transporter to the fridge that the camper had, but then I used it just to keep drinks and stuff cold. But like the crucial food stuff, I had to make sure it was in a proper fridge by day 2, essentially.
Okay, yeah. But so maybe I will need to get a fridge.
But maybe I didn't properly, because you have to like prep it. So like before you use it, you have to like put ice in it for like a day or whatever. And then take that ice out and put new ice in and then close it. So maybe I just didn't do it right. Who knows?
Okay.
But a fridge seems like a bigger commitment for sure.
Right. Well, when you have the fridge in there, that's when you have the electronics.
You need a power
inverter.
Source. Yeah.
Yep. And see, that's the other tricky thing, and that's the other decision I need to make as well. So the 140 Econo line I sent you that I'm going to take a look at tomorrow, that one has a flat roof because it's a normal cargo van. Whereas these high top that have the fiberglass roof or ceiling, those are more curved. So it makes it harder to put on solar panels, and it makes it harder to. The other thing that most camper vans have is you cut a hole in the top and you put a fan in there with a rain guard. And so if you have a high top, when it has that more curve, it's a little bit harder, I guess, to put a fan in there and to mount solar panels onto your roof.
Solar panels. Mm-hmm. So the solar panels is that is used to power the accessories when the car's not on?
Yep.
Okay.
In a lot of these vans, and with a lot of them,
how reliable is solar panels? Like we're in Michigan right now, it's gray as hell. Now I'm sure there is sun that a solar panel could still get from a day like today.
Right,
but it's not like a very sunny day.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that works here in Michigan. But the thing is, most of them you can buy them, and they come with like this thing that measures how many amps you're getting.
But you'd also need,
how charged.
If you have solar panels, you also need a battery of some sort.
Yep. Yeah, I was planning on buying them all together.
It's not just like solar panel to car. You have to.
No. You need a battery to hold the power. Yeah.
I think that's the way to go. I think you could buy, a battery pretty easily. And use and wow, this is very exciting.
It'll be fun, dude. I'm excited.
Your only sort of leisure consideration is the music. No sort of speaker system,
the music,
no TVs.
Well, a lot of the leisure I'm hoping to do will be outside of the van, to be honest with you.
Right, the van's
going
just
hiking,
getting you to the places.
Right. Hiking, seeing stuff. There's a lot of places in Michigan I want to go see, in the UP, for example. Another thing I want to get, though, is I do want to get upgraded all-terrain tires on it. Not that I'm going to be going crazy off-roading or anything, but a lot of these vehicles are rear-wheel drive that I've been looking at, and a lot of the forums I've been reading, they say if you have rear-wheel drive, just make sure you have really, really good tires.
I mean, yeah, for sure, 100%. I mean, that's the same thing with every car in the world, though, that no one pays attention to, is that tires is the main... is the most important factor as far as traction and stuff, not like all-wheel drive.
And they're not that expensive usually, right? I mean, even you could get good tires, and they shouldn't be crazy expensive.
No, and tires are a wear item on a car. So if you're buying a car in general, that's something you need to be factoring into the purchase, of a car.
Exactly.
No, it wouldn't be. It would probably be like, I don't know, $400 or $500.
Quick question for you: is it expensive to convert a vehicle from like rear-wheel drive to four-wheel drive?
Yeah,
it is. How much?
I mean, it will. The question's not that simple. First of all, it has to be a car that it would be a lot. It's a lot easier in a car that comes as as all-wheel drive and as four-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive, which I imagine like a Econoline van does. So maybe that makes it a little bit easier. I don't know, actually, maybe it's not that expensive. Not. It seems actually like it would be kind of simple on something like an Econoline van.
Well, I had been looking online a little bit because some people had done that with theirs, but a lot of these people who have done it, they have turned these Ford Econolines into these off-roading machines. I mean, they're awesome. A lot of them, they cut the roof off the top and they build a pop-up that will go there, which is really cool.
You just want, I mean, you could easily, you don't have to go full like overland, which is what that is.
Right.
You could easily, oh, geez, sorry. I'm looking on my other computer, so I can't show you this, but I just looked at a company that converts Econolines, and these things are dope.
Oh, I'll bet.
They look
How much do they cost? Are they for sale?
Let's see. I'm sure they sell them.
I feel like that might be a good business to be in because a lot of people, I've seen a lot of them out west. I saw a lot. In Arizona,
it's super popular on the West Coast. It's also super popular in what am I? Seattle, Portland, the Pacific Northwest. I'm trying to. So kits are like, here are 4x4 conversion kits, and what the engine is for a 4.6. Oh, they don't have one for a 4.6 though, which is what the one you were looking at is. But the cheapest conversion kit is $6,000.
Whew, okay.
And that's just the pieces,
Right.
Like
that's
you still
not
have to
the
do
labor.
It.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe that's not what I should be thinking.
But you don't need that. You really don't need that. Tires are 100%. I'd say you're not doing any legitimate off-roading. Right. Or at least that's not your initial...
And I'm not planning on filling it with tons of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not planning on making it, because you can build these out, but the more you build in them, the heavier they get.
Yeah, sure, of course.
So I'm trying to keep it minimalist, but I would like to get some features eventually, Jared, like some cool lighting, like some different colors that you can select.
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
That seems pretty easy to do.
Yeah.
Get some. You definitely have to have some mood lighting.
Exactly. We might have to document this for the podcast once I actually get this van and get cracking on it.
All right. I mean, that means you have to take pictures, which is
that is true.
Listen. Don't hold your breath for any pictures. Is all I'm saying to the people.
Speaking of pictures, Jared, today was one of the first days that I've actually used my phone for pictures in a long time.
Wow.
We had 7 deer,
7
chilling in the back in our backyard today.
Wow.
Eating the grass, hanging out. 7. Actually, my mom said 8 at one point, but I saw 7.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was really crazy to see them. Like, they kind of came out.
That's what gets you to take a picture?
Trees.
What are you going to do with that picture?
Probably in like 2 months, be like, oh, yeah, we had 7 deer
that was crazy.
behind the house. Yeah, that's about it. That's about it. I don't know. Maybe I'm a weird millennial. Like, I'm not taking tons of pictures or selfies or anything like that.
I don't either. Yeah.
But yeah. Anyways, Jared, I have a shout out today.
All right. I'm excited to follow you on this van life journey, by the way.
It'll be cool.
And I'm excited
I'm
to live
excited.
vicariously through you. I'm very excited already.
I will say this.
It's
I
not
do
even
have a
mine.
slight deadline that I want to get all my stuff done by. My good buddy David will be getting married, and he'll have his reception. Well, he's actually already gotten married. Shout out to our good buddy David, who's been on the podcast a few times. But they're having a wedding celebration in the end of July, so I'll be driving down to Missouri. So I need to get this thing at least in road trippable. I'm sure it will already be in road trippable condition by then.
By July?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's exciting. Oh, this is like one of those YouTube build shows.
That's true. Yeah, it'll be fun though. I'm really excited. I'm hoping to learn a lot from the experience. I'm sure there'll be lots of swear words and some frustration along the way. But hey,
oh yeah,
that's what makes it kind of fun. You know,
for sure.
All right, let me give this shout out. This is quite a crazy shout out here, Jared. Speaking of our episode topic today, the fittest and the fattest. Here we go. This is from timesnownews.com. Superwoman who was filmed pushing a dairy truck up an icy hill rewarded a year's supply of free milk. Charlene, who works at a supermarket, was heading to some shops with her daughters, Rihanna and Hunter, when she saw Graham's lorry struggling to cross an icy road. A woman who went viral was dubbed Superwoman after being filmed pushing a dairy truck up an icy hill in the UK, has been rewarded for her selfless work.
Gosh.
Charlene Leslie, 33, was filmed earlier this week pushing the
hell?
massive lorry up a snow-covered street in Cowdenbeath in Fife during a strong blizzard. Her work has now been rewarded with a year's supply of free milk, according to Metro.
It was a milk truck. That's what it was.
Yeah, it was a dairy truck.
Oh, I see.
So yeah, I'm assuming there was probably milk in there for sure.
That is ridiculous. I see the video here. I almost don't even believe this. There's something going on here. It's
pretty crazy.
You know what? Speaking of tires, I almost guarantee this is a marketing ploy by the company.
Maybe.
I'm sure this is just some.
Maybe she drinks their milk and that's how she got so strong, Jared.
It's just some like modified version. Like they just have some sort of system on this truck where it has like the trailer wheels can turn, like it's like 16-wheel drive, and It's got amazing tires. And they're like, oh, we'll make it look like this woman is pushing it up, and it almost like a, I hate to bring this up because obviously he's a terrible person, but it's almost like a Jared from Subway situation where it's like now it's like I'm so strong, dude, thanks to Graham's dairy, that I can push a lorry up a slippery wet snow hill. No problem. And she's just doing it with one hand as she drinks the milk like the
Dairy
Old Spice
strong.
guy. Exactly. Dude, that was really good.
Yes, dude. Dairy strong. Yeah, oh my God, that's hilarious.
The British accent.
That is hilarious. Here we go,
I'm
though.
very strong.
Here we go. I'll try to read this with a British accent for you, Jared.
Is this her? She just looks like a normal person. She doesn't look like she's some sort of like...
It's that dairy strength, man.
She doesn't look like she's some sort of like bodybuilder or anything.
Who knows? I got to give her, whoever made her shoes or boots, some credit as well for her not slipping on that ice and losing traction. But here, let me read this.
Impressive.
So chairman of Graham's The Family Dairy, Dr. Robert Graham Sr., said he couldn't believe what he saw in the clip and thanked Charlene for her help. Although she is a real-life superwoman, for health and safety reasons, we must advise others not to follow her actions.
Yeah,
As a
that seems
heartfelt
super
thank
dangerous.
you, Charlene and her family will receive our milk and high-protein dairy products for free for the rest of the year.
That does seem super dangerous. What if the truck started rolling backwards?
Oh, for sure. Or what if she fell and injured herself? Could she sue the truck company? I don't know if there's crazy about suing in England.
You know what? That's
like we
probably
are.
100% why the company's recommending not you don't do this, because they're like, listen, because then you're going to hurt yourself and we're going to get in trouble for you for your
But see, their founder made a mistake. What he
this
should
is
have
not
said,
happening, Chad. This video is ridiculous.
what he should
She's
have
not
said.
pushing a lorry up a snowy hill. I'm
Piss
telling
off.
you, this is a
I think
market.
she is.
Did you see the video?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's
She's
nuts,
just
dude.
casually walking.
Maybe she just.
It doesn't even look
really,
hard.
she's so strong, it doesn't even look like she's trying, Jared. She's very strong. But yeah, it's crazy. The other thing though too, that guy, he missed a golden marketing opportunity. What he should have said was, we don't advise anyone to do this, but we do advise you to drink Graham's Family Milk. It'll make you strong so you can push lorries if you need to.
Yeah, that's why, exactly, Chad. You're once again confirming why I think this is a marketing ploy, because it's a perfect marketing ploy.
Oh, that's
almost
great.
too perfect of a marketing
Right?
ploy. And listen,
pretty crazy.
I'm not mad at him if it is a marketing ploy. It's a pretty good one. This you go viral. It's like, she's dairy strong, and it's perfect. And hashtag dairy strong. I get it, but I can't believe that this woman is put.
Can you pop this on our Twitter and put hashtag dairy strong?
Sure, sure. I'm gonna have to find it. I found a news article. I'll find it though. Dairy strong.
There's a classic, though. Anyways, shout out to Charlene Leslie, because that is just badass. Or to the Graham's Milk Company for a great marketing ploy, one way or the other.
Yeah, shout out to the Graham's Dairy Marketing Department.
That's right. That's right. Well, Jared, I think you know what time it is.
I do, but
chance.
I realized my my phone got connected to someone that turned on Bluetooth.
Uh-oh.
So that's why I was hitting drops. I was like, what the hell?
That's dangerous right there. There we go. It's the Untranslatable Owl, and you all know what that means. It's time for Untranslatables, which are words, idioms, phrases, axioms that don't always translate on a one-to-one basis into English, and we are your tried and true certified untranslatable professionals. And I will get us started today, Jared, with a German untranslatable, das Frustfressen.
To put something in your mouth.
Do you know what Frust means?
No, frost maybe.
No,
I don't know.
Do we have a word in English that also has Frust? Frust?
I guess so, but
what word would that be?
Frust. I have no idea. Frustration.
Mm-hmm.
To eat your frustration. Is that like to calm down?
Yeah, kinda.
Relax, or don't dwell on this anger.
I would call it emotional overeating.
What is the literal? Give me the actual proper literal.
Frustration. Mm-hmm. Fressen, which is to eat like an animal, to devour.
Okay.
You're just devouring out of your feelings, right?
Yes.
You're eating because you're frustrated, or it could just be you're emotionally, disturbed, or you have some issues, and so you're eating because of it.
Yes.
Eating is a coping mechanism, I would say.
Yes, of course. My first one is actually one that I would like you to help me with. I saw this on Twitter. And I thought this was a great untranslatable, but she didn't really define it because she wasn't doing this for our podcast.
How dare she? How rude!
So, and I do have and someone actually replied to the tweet and gave, because she said, here I'll just read the tweet and then I'll actually no, let me give you the untranslatable, then I'll explain why I'm trying to figure out what this means. Ayan ma dan titi dojo iku ni, and that's Yoruba, which is spoken in, I believe, West Africa. Yeah, like Nigeria, Benin, other West African countries around there. Mm-hmm. And that literally means cockroaches are shiny until they die.
Is that like all that glitters is not gold?
I don't think so.
No.
But I'll read you the tweet that made me wonder what this really meant. So it is political, just to be clear. I said so she's quoting herself. This is Ray Sani. I said Mitch McConnell is going to come out of this fine like he always does. My dad told me there's a Yoruba adage that applies. I think she means untranslatable. It was a typo. Cockroaches are shiny until they die. So essentially, we're talking about a sort of a slimy politician always coming out
Moscow, Mitch.
Scotch-free. Scot-free.
Right. So what happens when you're so slimy, Jared? You can just slime through everything.
Yeah. So it's like cockroaches always always stay unscathed, essentially.
Yep.
So it's like if you're somehow
they're shiny until they die. That makes sense.
yeah, like you can't hurt them or penetrate them. And
I've been saying stuff like that, for a while now, especially regarding specific and certain politicians. Mm-hmm. It seems like they aren't going to be held accountable.
Yeah.
So the cockroaches are shiny till they die, Jared. I like that one. That's a good one. Let me give you another German one, Jared. I've been enjoying testing out your German lately.
Yeah, I hate it. Although my German's getting lazy. I don't use it anymore.
Somebody's got to whip your German back into shape,
I don't go to the German coffee chats anymore.
Every time, I just one tear afterwards rolls down. I don't know if it's nervous. It's just like, you know what we were talking about last week?
What were we talking? No, I don't.
I shit you not. We were talking about cowboy hats and cowboy boots. It was a good time. It was fun. It was a fun conversation.
All right.
Which then led to talking about fashion, different cultures, and everything else. Anyways, let me give you another German one.
Well, last time I was there, it turned into this whole argument about
that was funny.
Voting is stupid. And I'm like, why are we even having this argument with someone that can't even vote?
Right. I think two people that can't vote. But yeah, either way.
No, it was just one.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay. Anyways, let me get you this next untranslatable, Jared. It is German, and it is Kummerspeck.
Oh, I've heard this before. Mm-hmm. Kumman. Oh, man, I don't remember that word. Speck is bacon. Mm-hmm. Kumma. I don't know. I don't remember.
Kummer. Sorrow or grief.
Bacon.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. What's with all these depressing? Are you trying to give me some sort of sign here? What's with all these super depressing untranslatables?
I was thinking this one had speck and food, and when I think of food, I think of fittest or fattest.
Oh, I see.
That's where these are coming from.
I gotcha.
Yep. So, what is Kummerspeck, Jared? What is grief bacon or sorrow bacon?
Sorrow bacon. Is that just someone that's sulking? I'm eating. Oh, why are you eating that sorrow bacon? Was that maybe what you're saying? Oh, I'm just eating sour bacon.
Well, here, this is a headline. Here's an example from a headline from the Hamburger Abendblatt, which is like a Hamburg, I think, newspaper. Kummerspeck nach Ehe aus. Heidi Klum hat zugenommen.
Okay.
So grief bacon after like the marriage breakup, Heidi Klum has put on weight is the headline.
So it's like the weight you put on when you're sad weight.
Yeah, basically sad weight. Yeah, those couple extra pounds you put on when you're sad, that grief bacon. If you go through a bad breakup or who knows what. Happens to a lot of people.
I think I go the
that's
other
why
way.
they gain weight.
I think I go the other way. Not overeating, but undereating is the way I go.
Yeah, me too, actually. But I think it depends on the situation.
But obviously, I fully understand the overeating impulse. I'm not
right.
That makes perfect sense to me as well.
You have any more untranslatables for me today?
I do. My next one is Portuguese. Mm-hmm. It's empurrar com a barriga,
which means
to push something with your belly.
Is that to be just a nice way to say you're fat? You're overweight?
No. But maybe if you are overweight.
Is that to be comfortable?
No. It means so. People. It's pushing something with your belly is a common issue for students. Just constantly pushing stuff with their belly.
Is it to not do work? To be lazy? Procrastinate?
There you go. Okay. Help me figure this one out, though, because I was trying to give you an example, but I'm like, I don't think I fully understand.
Well, if you think about it, if you push something with your belly, you can't really push it very far. So it's kind of like you're kicking a can down the street.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. You're just kind of slightly moving something out of your way,
right?
But it's still in your way.
Exactly.
I gotcha. Okay.
Let me give you a Czech one to change things up. I haven't done a Czech one in a long time.
Yeah, I thought you did them all.
Right. No kidding. I thought so too. All right, here we go. Dvakrát mer jedno řez, which means measure twice, cut just once.
Oh yeah, okay. We say the same thing in the U.S., don't we? That's like plan. It's like plan twice as like make sure you're well planned before you execute.
Yeah,
I think that's English untranslatable too.
I think so too. Yeah, just reminding you or recommending you to take an important and irreversible decision into consideration. So yeah, just don't be like even buying this van. I've been doing a lot of research, putting a lot of thought into it. This hasn't been just like an overnight thing. So yeah.
Yeah. All right. That's all I got.
Okay, let me give you two quick ones because I think they're related to our topic today, and then we'll get into it. So my next one for you is, we'll stick with Czech, dvojí metr, which means double measuring tape or double measure.
Is this a mean way of saying someone is overweight?
No, it's not.
Oh, it's like, boy, you so fat. I need two measuring tapes to wrap around you. You know,
that'd be funny,
like
but no.
Or like that seems like a good yo mama joke or something like that.
Let me give you an example, Jared. So some magazines, you might see Lizzo on a magazine, and there might be a lot of things about body positivity, and then you might see Seth Rogen on another magazine.
Is that like a double standard?
Yes, sir. Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Yep. I was going to say Jonah Hill, but I think he's actually gotten pretty good shape lately, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
But I do think there is a slight...
Seth Rogen's a weird one, too, to be honest with you, because I don't think he's
not really that fat.
I don't think he's in...
Yeah. He's a little chubby. He's a little husky, I think, as we'd say. Just got a little bit...
But no one looks at him and is like, oh, wow. He's right. I don't know.
Who would be a better one? Joey Diaz, maybe?
Yeah, I was going to say Ralphie May.
Yeah, rest in peace, right?
Yeah, but that's why.
Not with us anymore.
But yeah,
Enrique, Gabriel Iglesias would be another one, right?
Yeah,
Fluffy.
He's cute and fluffy. Yeah.
Yep. All right, let me give you the last one here. Right. Last one I'll give you here, and you should know this one, Jared. It's German. Alles in Butter.
Oh yeah, I love that one. Mm-hmm. That was one I learned when I lived in Germany, and it means everything's in butter. But it means all's good. All's good.
Yep.
Alles in Butter. I love that one.
It's a good one, but I think this untranslatable, Jared, shows us the mentality of some what we think is good is something that's all in butter, right? It's easy. I feel like for certain cultures, I think some cultures, they really kind of stress the, work hard, that's really good. And then other cultures, it's more like, just everything's in butter. It's just easy peasy,
you think that sort of represents Germany's mentality, the alles in Butter?
No, not. I wouldn't say necessarily Germany's mentality, but just the mentality of, I think, a lot of heavier people out there.
No, listen, hold on. I don't want this to be... okay. All right. That's fine. I just don't want. I'm just not interested in shitting on heavy people in this episode.
Oh well, there goes all my notes. So I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. Well, no, that's not the plan today, Jared. The plan now is to talk about some of the fittest and fattest countries around the world, and we can hopefully dive in and figure out why that might be.
Kind of on purpose, I actually haven't looked up a list because I figured you would.
Yep.
I will start by saying this. We're from America, and we always get that reputation, but I feel like it's sort of going away a little bit. I feel like that reputation. I mean, people still use it, but I don't know if it's. I feel like maybe I'm wrong. Are we not? I feel like we're falling down on the list, is what I'm saying.
I don't know about that, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you where we were 5 years ago and where our standing is now.
But it's not looking good now.
I'm not sure. I will say this. I was actually pleasantly surprised there are actually less fat people in the U.S. than I thought there would be. The stats that I've been seeing, it seems like I've seen it through a couple different places. Around 13 to 15% of Americans are obese.
What is obese? What do they consider?
I think it's with a body mass index. Oh, what was it again? It's like a certain number. 1 second here. But yeah, the interesting, BMI of 25 to 29.9 is considered overweight. A BMI of 30 and above is considered obese. Individuals who fall into the BMI body mass index range of 25 to 34.9 or have a waist size of over 40 inches for men and 35 inches for women are considered to be at an especially high risk for health problems.
Yeah, I hate those though because I feel like it's so like it does. I hate just that. Like I feel like it's way too general of a thing to say. You know, like there's so many other factors. I don't know. Anyway, what are some of the fittest and fattest countries? Chad.
So actually, one of the fittest countries, and this surprised me actually. This one I'm not sure why it wasn't on my radar, but it just wasn't.
All right, let me guess. Let me guess.
Mm-hmm.
It's Japan.
No.
Korea.
No.
Okay. Is it in South America?
Well, now you need to go further east. Across an ocean.
Okay. I'm across that ocean.
Mm-hmm. What continent is across the ocean from South America?
I guess Africa?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Say Kenya.
Okay, not a bad guess. Uganda. So here you go, Jared. Okay. This article is from BBC. Why Uganda is the world's fittest country. Uganda is the most physically active nation in the world, according to a recent report by the World Health Organization. The BBC's Patience Adaher went to find out why. Jennifer, I'm going to butcher this last name here. Jennifer Namulembwa, I think I said that right, spends an hour and a half walking to work 5 days a week from Nabungo on the southeastern end of Uganda's capital, Kampala. She navigates her way past the railway line and crosses the treacherous 8-lane stretch of the highway. She skirts the plush Kololo Hill, finally getting to Kamwokya suburb by 9 a.m. At work, the 34-year-old spends 2 hours on her feet cleaning a 3-floor building. The rest of her day is spent running errands for her boss, and just after 5 p.m., she traces back the same route to return home. I'm used to it, so I don't feel the distance, and I never wear nice shoes to work. I would also like to enjoy the good life sometimes riding a car or on a motorcycle, she chuckles, showing her dusty feet in black sandals. Her commute...
It is funny that they make it seem like she's some sort of like... fit like I don't want to say hero, but it's like she's like, I mean, I would if I could, I would happily take a car, just to be clear.
Right. So this is interesting. So there was a study on tracking the physical activity around the world, Jared, and found that only 5.5 Ugandans had an insufficient level of activity. Now, I couldn't tell you, Jared, what the parameters are, how they measured what insufficient level of inactivity means. I couldn't tell you that. But here are just some other countries
maybe steps, or heart rate, sure. Average heart rate or something. I don't know.
Right. And it also depends on how much food you're eating, too.
I'll say this. That has been... I think that is, we recently did an episode about quote unquote first world problems, and I think that is a big one. Is like this idea of staying in shape and how hard it is, to stay in shape.
Good point. Yeah,
and how sedimentary is that the word sedimentary?
Yeah, sedimentary. Yeah,
how sedimentary of a lifestyle I'm not even talking about other people. I'm talking about me. I can live.
Me too.
And just be and that be okay is is really a privilege, because it's like this woman, she's not walking to work out of some sort of like, I could buy a car. Right. It's like, this is what I have to do to survive.
Yep.
And now because I do it, walking 10 miles doesn't even faze me.
Right. So Jared, what countries do you think are some of the most active, and which countries do you think, are some of the least active?
Now, if I would, my guess goes to like these bicycle countries, like Netherlands.
They're in the middle. I'll tell you that they're in the middle. Maybe that will help you.
Okay. Most and least active.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now I feel like I need to reconsider.
So first, let's do the most inactive.
most inactive.
Yeah, so
I feel like the United
least
States
active.
has to be somewhere up there.
We are. We're pretty high up there. At about 40% of American adults are not getting sufficient activity, but we are not the top, believe it or not. Guess what country? I don't think you'll be able to actually guess the top country.
Can you give me a continent hint or something?
In the Middle East.
Okay. Huh. Oh, I do know the answer. I do know the answer.
What's the answer?
I just just remembered that I think I know. I think I know what the answer is.
What's the answer?
Kuwait.
Very good. Yeah, Kuwait is at 67%. And then it looks like, so in comparison right here, some of the countries with the most sedentary lives are Kuwait, American Samoa, Saudi Arabia, and Iraq.
I think I saw that. I saw that somewhere.
Yep. But yeah, U.S., believe it or not, Jared, this surprised me right here. The U.S., it's about 40% adults. Guess what country scored higher than the U.S. in most inactive people? The highest in the Americas is actually Brazil at 47%, which is interesting because when I think of Brazil, I don't think of at least heavy people or inactive people. But I think depending on your diet and your lifestyle, in theory, you could be inactive.
Yeah, they didn't say heavy.
Right.
They said inactive.
Right, which is different. Exactly. Okay, and some of the most active, Jared, are Mozambique, Tanzania, Lesotho and Togo, and also China is looking pretty good. Let's see here. China, is that the Czech Republic? No, Poland. Poland also.
Are you looking just at a map?
Yeah, I'm looking at a map right here.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, interesting. I'm surprised I am surprised that there's no Scandinavian countries that you're calling off, and I understand. I mean, now that I hear the list of fittest or of most active and least active, it actually makes a little more sense when you put it into a realistic context. Because like when I talk about these countries like the U.S. or Netherlands, where it's like. I imagine a lot of the countries you listed before. It's not because they work out more. It's because their lifestyles don't lend them to having cars more,
right?
And so they don't they don't have as much of a choice. But
exactly.
So I didn't think about it in that sense. I was like, well, I mean, I guess that's true in Netherlands too. I'm not saying everyone, but it's a different sort of it's just a different sort of necessity.
Right. Yeah. Well, and I think that plays a big role in some of the more fitter and then the heavier countries out there, the fatter countries out there. Is it possible to ride bikes places? I feel like there's a lot of places in the U.S. where it's not really the safest. The infrastructure is not designed for bikers.
I feel like I live close enough to my job where I could. Distance-wise, I could bike to and from work every day.
Would you feel safe biking to and from work?
See, that's the thing. There is an easy path to get to my job that involves the freeway, but then the path that would avoid the freeway, adds on a good amount of time. There's not really an efficient way to get. I don't know. Yeah, it's not a great. It's not. It wouldn't be it certainly wouldn't be a scenic bike ride. That's for sure.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, our
lots of car exhaust on your way.
our infrastructure certainly isn't set up. And then the problem is in Philadelphia, I was certainly distance-wise, in bikeable distance-wise, but I had to drive through some. Now, what's the right way to explain the areas I had to drive through?
The hood?
Sure. Yeah. Where you would openly see. I did I tell you the one time I saw someone openly doing drugs walking down the street in the morning?
Yeah, you told me that one time. Yeah.
And so you see people clearly posted up like selling drugs and stuff. So that also it's like, yeah, theoretically I could ride my bike, but I don't know if I want to do that.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
With my khakis and
Right. I don't blame you one bit. That's for sure. That is for sure. Well, Jared, we've talked about some of the fittest countries. Now let's talk about some of the fattest. I wonder, Jared, can you give me, what would you guess would be like the top 5 countries with the highest percentage of adult population that is obese?
Once again, I don't love the scale of what is and isn't obese, because these are also like, because I want to say, I imagine like is it like American Samoa is up there, or like Polynesian is up there, or some of the Polynesian countries maybe.
Micronesia is up there, yeah.
But the thing is,
Samoa's up there, yeah.
That's why I don't like the thing of just calling them obese, though, because like this is like they're like, you know, this is like their body type, you know, and it's like, is it necessarily that they're just unhealthy or way more unhealthy because this BMI says that they're obese or something?
What do you mean it's their body type, though? I mean, you're either fat or you're not fat.
Okay, all right.
I mean, or am I wrong? I mean, I feel like
I don't know.
I don't know either. I feel like if you're fat, you're fat. I don't know. Maybe,
but you can gain weight through muscle too, though.
True, but only a certain amount unless you're on roids.
Okay.
And yeah, but technically those bodybuilder dudes, I mean, technically if you base it off of weight and their if you were to base it off of weight and usually their height, they would also technically be considered overweight and or obese. But if you look at the fat ratio, a lot of, like, if you're a legit bodybuilder, you know, a lot of them who are really shredded have lower than, 10% body fat.
But based off of the scale that you're saying right now, they would be classified as obese.
I think.
So that's kind of my point, though.
Right. Yeah. So maybe you are right. Maybe it's the scale that's not.
I say BMI is flawed. That's what I say.
I think you're right about that. Because I think even technically, I mean, I'll be real. I could. I think I weighed myself. I was 188. I could definitely lose obese. 8 to 10 pounds.
You're obese.
I think I am considered overweight. Especially for my height, I think. But, they don't take into consideration these thunder thighs, so.
But those could only add so much weight. You're obese. That's what
that's true.
That's what you just said, at least.
Right. Okay, so, here. So, globally, here, this is from infoplease.com. Fattest countries in the world. Now, this is from 2017, so I think could change. Globally, 39% of adults are overweight, and here was the 13%, and 13% are obese. According to the World Health Organization, once again, they're probably using the BMI, which definitely is flawed. Here's a look at the countries with the highest percentage of overweight adults. People interesting. So here, they're considering overweight adults, people age 15 and over, which I find a little weird, but whatever. People are considered overweight if their body mass index, as we've talked about, which is flawed, is 25 or higher, and obese with a BMI of 30 and higher. So number 1 is the Cook Islands, Jared. According to this list from InfoPlease from 2017. And the percentage here is almost 80%, 79.4%, which is a lot.
Yeah, this is another one of those South Pacific countries.
Yep.
I've never
Next
heard
one
of.
is number 2 is Qatar with almost 78%, 77.8%. Palau.
Dude.
Where is Palau?
Cook Islands are gorgeous.
Palau.
How do you spell Palau?
Palau. President Tommy Remengesau.
That is also a.
Oh, they use the U.S. dollar.
That is also one of the Pacific Islands.
Gotcha. I do not know anything about the Pacific Islands.
I don't either. But before I even looked it up, that would be my guess where it was at. So here, So I imagine these ones right here. These are the Pacific Islands: Palau, Tuvalu, Marshall Islands.
Why is that?
Nauru, Federated States of Micronesia, Samoa, Vanuatu, and Cook Islands. Where was the guy? Oh, remember Tonga? Remember there was that one Olympics where there was that Tongan sexy dude that everyone was posting about on social media? That was the first time I learned about Tonga.
Right. So right here. So How has the Samoan diet changed over the past 30 years? Samoans used to and still do grow their own food. Their traditional diet consisted of mostly taro, breadfruit, coconut, bananas, and seafood. But more and more recently, on top of those foods, people started buying foods that were coming from the outside, and these foods tended to be lower quality foods. They're cheaper and more calorific. That's a fun word to say.
Calorific.
More calories. A large amount of frozen poultry started coming in from North America and U.S. industries. At the same time, imported vegetable oil, so you can fry these tasty frozen chickens up, became more commonly and cheaply available. So there was this rise in the number of family-run establishments where you can buy some deep fried chicken. There you go, Jared. And cheap, really fatty cuts of frozen lamb started coming in from New Zealand. Other fatty offcuts like turkey tails also floated in. It was more meat than Samoans were used to consuming. We hear about the same sort of thing happening in countries like India and Brazil, where economic changes in global trade have brought in unhealthy food, which is a very important point, I think, for a lot of this, Jared, is the unhealthy food. And I'm not trying to say that either of us are licensed dietitians or have the most perfect diets, but I think a lot of the issues with obesity around the world comes from all the processed foods, all the fast foods. The problem is a lot of these unhealthy foods, they taste great. You know, that's a big issue.
And they're cheap too.
Yep. Yeah, but you're right. A lot of these are islands in the what do you call it again? Micropolynesia? American Polynesian Islands?
Oh no. What do you call them? I don't know. I call them the like Asian Pacific Islands. Mm-hmm. I think, but I don't know what they're supposed to be called, to be honest with you. I mean, it's Oceania. It's all Oceania. So
you know what's interesting, though,
whenever
Jared?
we hear Oceania, we all just think Australia, New Zealand, and then we move on with our lives.
Right.
But
There's
it's
a
also
lot more to it than that.
all these islands.
Mm-hmm. It'd be cool to check out those islands.
Dude, I mean, if you just type them in on Google and look up just, the images, every one of them looks like a postcard.
Oh, I'm sure. That does not surprise me. The interesting thing, though, Jared, is also just like media perception of obesity and everything. When I think of obese people or heavy people, the interesting thing is these islands aren't actually the first thing that generally comes to my mind. Although, yes, I know a lot of like... there have been like characters in movies and different stuff where they're definitely bigger. Especially, I think the stereotype for a lot of Samoan people is they're known to be very tall and big. Mm-hmm. But when I think of fat people, I tend to think of myself, Jared, Americans from the United States, British people as well, and also some Germans. I think Germany is definitely one of the heavier European countries.
Mm. They do have a heavier diet. They like the fried foods and the potatoes. Yeah,
right.
Sure.
Exactly.
But you love that cuisine.
Oh, that's some of my favorite.
Simple and fried.
Yep. And then I'm a happy guy. That doesn't take too much, Jared. Doesn't take too much. Yeah, I do find it interesting that a lot of these islands, they have, but I do wonder how much of it is flawed due to the way they're using BMI or not. I'm curious about that myself.
And I think there's also, it's genetics as well, Mm-hmm. It's like
definitely.
I think people are also, based off of where they're from, they're sort of, inclined to certain various different biological aspects. That was too much science talk. I got scared
a lot of
halfway
science
through.
talk right there.
But it's. I don't think it's as simple as just like, Americans have the greatest collection of fast food restaurants, therefore, we should be, and we're just like, we're just privileged and constantly unaware of it. We should be the fat. I don't know. I don't think it's that simple,
Right. Well, I think some of it also comes down to obviously diet and physical activity, but also socioeconomic status.
Yeah.
I feel like if you look at a lot of really wealthy people, it seems like a lot of really rich people aren't obese. If you look at Bill Gates. Look at Elon Musk. Look at Jeff Bezos.
I mean, that's yeah. I hear what you're saying. That's a super generalization. There are a lot of super rich people you do not know.
That's true, and probably some of them are pretty fat. You're right. You're right. But I do think,
but in
as
general,
we've mentioned,
in general, especially in the United States, to have like a very healthy, balanced diet, it can be pricier than and also just time wise, people with more money tend to have more time to do things, and it's just like or at least more resources to have people do it for them. And so it's just like it's our system. I'm not gonna say it's set up, but it's the way it's set up. Yeah, I guess I will say it's set up. The way it's set up, it's like the easiest, the most attainable food, and is not the healthiest.
Right. Well, and if you just think of how much processed food, how much sugar is in a lot of stuff. Also, drinks. I feel like people don't realize how many calories a lot of like drinks have, like soda or pop, juice, all that stuff has a lot of sugar.
I used to have a coworker at an old job. He was like the boss, and that's not really a coworker. And so he had an office and like a cupboard in his office, and at all times it had at least like one or two 12 packs of Coca-Cola, Diet Coke. And that and it was just like an all day thing, like a morning, kind of like instead of a morning coffee,
he'd have his morning Diet Coke.
Yeah, then like at lunch, and it just every time, and it would just.
Can I ask, was this boss heavier or overweight?
No, I mean he was a little soft, but no. But the thing was, he was he was very red, like his skin did not look great. I'll say that.
Because it seems like what I've seen, a lot of people who order a Diet Coke tend to not always be the thinnest.
Some people claim it tastes better too, but that is the stereotype.
It's kind of the stereotype,
is that you go? There's I think about 6,000 comedians have done the joke where it's like they go to a fast food restaurant and get the large fry
two
and a
Big
Mac
and a large fry and a
Diet Coke. Yeah.
I think Chris Farley might have been the one that first started that. I could be wrong about that, but
maybe I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. But certainly a lot of people have made that comment. So I don't know
exactly. The other interesting thing too is just this idea of like the way different cultures view food and how to eat it. Right. So I feel like in the U.S. we are not the type of culture where it's like you sit down and you enjoy your meal. For us, it's we want it cheap, fast, and easy, and convenient.
It's interesting that you say that because I'm from the South, and I feel like food is a very crucial part of the culture,
Okay.
And maybe it's just because I'm often dealing with my grandparents, but I feel like people are always wondering: have you eaten? Are you hungry? What did you eat? I feel like what you have eaten and who made it is a large topic of conversation, at least in my family. Okay. I don't know if that's, but I feel like it's a Southern thing.
Okay.
And
could be.
And so, so I feel like, but maybe that's just pockets of the world where like people that really care about their cuisine are obsessed with it. But maybe overall, you're right.
Right. Yeah, but it seems like really the two main factors, I think, for determining which countries are fit or fat really boil down to two things, Jared: diet and activity.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I mean, yeah. But I feel like it's worth saying again, and it's just interesting that I think sometimes a lot of people, they look for fancy diets or fancy workout plans or what have you. But I think at the end of the day, it's not really that complicated, I
mean, it's not, but no one wants to, yeah, but...
but it's doing the work, and that's the hard part. It's just sticking to a schedule and a diet, but I think it's also important to give yourself a little flexibility so you can enjoy life too.
I honestly think it's way more diet than it is exercise. I think diet. I think exercise is good. Is important. I'm not saying it's not important, but I'm saying as far as like this, just straight up. Losing weight or whatnot. I think you could forego exercise and exclusively focus on diet and successfully. and not just like some sort of diet, but like what you eat. You know what I mean? And how much you eat, and do that without the exercise. I'm not saying
I agree with you.
I'm not saying exercise isn't useful, obviously.
Right. I agree with you. I think diet, if people did their diet right, I think you could do very minimal exercise and still be in okay shape. Now, obviously, you're not going to be
I don't even mean
ripped.
about being. Oh, okay, I get what you're saying. I don't even mean about being like shape or not, because I think there is. I think shape, but shape is so hard though, because you have to do some sort of physical activity, I'd say, to be in shape. I was just saying whether you're quote unquote fat or not.
Right.
But shape, I would say, is different. I'd say
That's fair.
whether you're
That's
like.
fair.
Because I think you can also be overweight, but be in better shape than someone that's not. You know, you can be overweight and still exercise more than people that are quote skinny and don't exercise and be in better shape. Probably outrun someone that's looks like they're in better shape than you.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. I would say the key with diet and exercise with both of them, not that I'm perfect for either of them, but I think the key with both of these, Jared, is consistency, but also I think in different cultures, they just view these things differently. Like, for example, I remember one of the first I don't think I would call it really culture shock, but one of the first things that I just when I saw in China, I was just like, that's interesting, was when I was walking home at night after I'd gone to the grocery store. And as I was walking back to my apartment, I heard this old school Chinese music. And I look outside and there's all these old aiyis or grandmas dancing together. They're doing this coordinated. It wasn't my tried and true pointing move, so I was a little disappointed about that.
So is it even dancing if there's no pointing happening?
Well, it was kind of like it looked almost kind of like
flowing movements.
I don't want to say Tai Chi because I think Tai Chi is different. Mm-hmm. And from my knowledge of Tai Chi, I don't think like there's like music involved or dance moves with it. I could be wrong about that, but anyways, it was funny because the woman up front was kind of the leader. Like, she was showing them the dance moves and they were doing them with her.
Almost like a Zumba class, but
yeah, I mean that's basically like what it was
with different music.
Exactly. And when I saw that though, I was just like, okay, so this is just like a publicly accepted thing, and people are cool with it. Whereas, like, can you imagine if people did that in America? I feel like people would be like, "What are you old ladies doing?"
You know, it's so funny that you say that because I think I don't know if they have this in other places, but I think we have something that I would say is way more cringy than that, and that's the CrossFit people that always are doing workouts on the sidewalk, or the CrossFit gym. You never lived in like a big city, have you? I don't know if you've seen this before.
Not in America, yeah.
But like at least in Philadelphia, I saw it all the time, where it's like these cars. They'd open up like the garage style door, and they'd be running down the street. It was like you're in a city.
Doing their kipping pull-ups 8 times.
Yeah, like
just doing those crazy kipping pull-ups. Yeah, exactly.
So they'd have those ropes,
Yeah. Just doing the kipping pull-ups too while they're just like flopping like a fish.
Or the tire, where they flip those giant tractor tires.
Yep.
To me, that the idea of doing like some sort of dance Zumba-y class outside is not that shocking to me. Like I've seen yoga classes outside before,
right?
So I feel like the idea of seeing like a dance workout class outside would not be weird to me.
That's true. You're right. I feel like the thing about CrossFit that makes it a little cringy as well is it's like, I feel like the environment that comes with it, it's just like, okay, so your goal is to become the best at working out? Like, okay, calm down a little bit,
Yeah, blasting Limp Bizkit or whatever it is they listen to.
Right. And I understand when you lift the idea of like training to failure, meaning you just can't do any more repetitions, right? But like CrossFit just takes it to a whole nother level. And for me at least, when I want to lift weights, my goal is not to see how many times I can lift that weight in 1 minute.
Yeah.
My goal is really what?
You're weak. That's why.
Oh, thanks, Jared. Thanks. My goal is to improve my strength and go with that and a specific number of repetitions.
Now, I don't know if this is true, but I have heard that a problem with CrossFit also is that because of that high speed sort of mentality, a lot of
ballistic
form is,
movements, as
a
they
lot
say.
of form is sacrificed.
Yeah,
and you end up doing more damage.
When you can
than
injure
good
yourself,
sometimes.
you can. I mean, but the other thing is with CrossFit, I think generally those types of events where they're doing those very fast movements, I don't think they're lifting weights that are crazy heavy. I could be wrong about that. I could be very wrong
It's
about
more like
that.
the
I don't follow
speed
CrossFit,
workout
but-
competition things. Yeah.
Right.
I got
Right.
you. But
even like one of the exercises they do, a lot of times they do a lot of Olympic lifts with CrossFit, and one of those is called a snatch, where you bring the bar up from the ground and pull it, above your head. Well, if you do that enough times, you can really mess up your shoulder joints if you are doing them incorrectly. I don't know how good the training is in terms of teaching people how to use the right form. I don't know. I've never been involved.
Faster,
Right?
you P
That's
word.
just the key. Right. But yeah. Okay, let's go through this, though. So these are 5 things from CNN, Jared, that contribute to the global rates of obesity. So number 1 is activity inequality. So a study published in the Journal of Nature used smartphones. See, they're already tracking us anyways, Jared. Using data from smartphones to analyze the number of steps taken on average day among people from 11 different countries. So the first one is activity inequality. Number 2 is perceptions of exercise. So maybe we shouldn't have been putting down our CrossFit brothers and sisters, Jared, but the perceptions of exercise. So while physical activity is said to be aiding in the growing rate, while physical inactivity is said to be aiding the growing rate of obesity worldwide, for example, as urbanization leads to more sedentary lives, experts point out that in some populations, exercise simply isn't a priority. Which makes sense. If you don't prioritize it, you don't do it. And that leads to number 3, actually, poor prioritization of exercise. In China, however, and other parts of East Asia, an extensive focus on academic achievement can often mean physical education is left behind. Students are under tremendous pressure for academic achievement. Physical education classes are often used for academic studies. Interesting. I was not aware of that. I will say this, though. I came across something really fascinating, Jared. I forget who it was, but it was basically kind of like the Ministry of Physical Education in China. Someone said in their ministry, they were basically saying, our boys are too soft and nerdy, and we need to toughen them up with PE classes. When I read that, I was just like, oh my God, that's hilarious.
They got like David Goggins in as their...
Right, exactly. Or there's another really famous guy. His name's Pavel Tsatsouline. He's been on the Joe Rogan Experience. He worked with the Russian Special Forces and I think the Marines. He has some good books about kettlebell training, Jared. So check him out. Pavel's awesome.
He has a great name, too.
Yeah, Pavel Tsatsouline. But yeah, But I will say this, though, Jared. I met a lot of students at my former university, a lot of guy students that... I would say we're definitely on the softer side of things. Like I remember one of the students that helped me out with things. He sent me a picture of the drying rack that he had to carry on his electric scooter. So granted, it's not like he had to carry this like walk. He had to put it by his handlebars and brace it there and drive his electric scooter to my apartment in China, then carry that to the elevator, set it down in the elevator, and then put it outside my door. And I texted him and said, oh my gosh, thank you. That looked really big. I hope it wasn't too heavy because I had no idea, right? I just saw the picture of the box in front of my door. And he responded with, oh my gosh, it was so heavy. I'm going to go back now and relax for a little bit. I'm kind of tired. And then when I finally got home, I went to grab it to pull it inside, and I picked it up like it was nothing. And I'm like, what? And then when I put it together, it was all made out of aluminum. So it was really light. And this student was just, paper thin,
Chad
skinny
just
as a
telling his
twig.
tough guy stories.
That's right. It's not even a tough guy thing, though. It's like if something weighs less than 10 pounds, I feel like it's not that heavy.
I understand.
But
I can imagine it being a little cumbersome on a scooter.
I guess, yeah. Can you guess, Jared, what the last thing the last 2 things here for obesity?
Wage inequality.
That's a very good guess, but no. The last 2 are, here, give me one more guess. You got 2 guesses. Give me one more.
Okay. You can just tell me.
Okay.
I'm probably
number
not gonna
4,
get it.
environment factors. So basically like the climate. So a lot of these countries in the Middle East, they have higher obesity because it's so hot, right? You just don't want to go outside and do stuff. You want to sit inside and do nothing all day, right? So another factor hindering exercise in many places is the outdoor environment in the Middle East. That means the temperature. And it's typical in very hot, it's typically very hot to do outdoor activities. Same is true in many developing regions near the equator. And when combined with poor perception of exercise and lack of awareness of its importance for health, the impact is even more significant. In China, the issue is pollution. Pollution has become a burden to exercise outdoors. This is according to CNN. This is particularly problematic for children and the burgeoning childhood obesity epidemic. So that there you go.
Sense.
Another one, obviously, too, is cold. So, if you live in a state or country where it's really cold all the time, you might also not want to go out and do stuff.
Well, that's what they call it. What do they call it? Oh, man. There's a term for...
Blubber?
No, there's a term for, like, winter, putting on, like, the winter weight.
Okay.
I can't think of what it's called, though.
Okay.
Sorry.
Your hibernation 15?
That's pretty
chili
good.
15? I don't know.
That's pretty good.
The last reason for obesity, Jared, why a lot of these countries are obese, is the value or in value.
Did you say there were two left, like
food.
4 ago?
No, this is the last one. This is the last one. So the value of processed or unprocessed food. So I can tell you, like when I was living in China, I ate a lot more vegetables with a lot of the dishes I had because it just came like that. A lot of Chinese food, usually it's a colorful plate, whereas like a lot of, you can go to a Western restaurant or go to an American restaurant and you get your burger and fries and the only quote unquote vegetables you have are some pickles, a couple slices of tomato and a slice of lettuce, so it's not that, so that's another big thing. And also too, in China, at least, the price of a lot of fast, like American-style fast food was kind of expensive, actually.
It's more of a luxury.
Right. So it was cheaper. I could get fairly healthy Chinese food for pretty cheap where I was living over there. And I was definitely the skinniest I've ever been while I was living in China, I'm pretty sure. I think I got down to 170 or 175.
Wow, very nice.
So yeah. But that was also, I had to walk a mile to work and a mile home every day. So I was automatically walking 2 miles every day.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's a big help too.
For sure.
Big help. And I also kind of enjoyed it. I'd pop on my playlist or the Untranslatable podcast and
I would like that
enjoy
too.
my walk home.
I would like that too.
Yeah. Here in the States, I feel like it's really hard to do that or imagine that.
I did that in Philly sometimes. The like if I was in Center City or something, I would be like, I could catch a Lyft or whatever and get home in 10 minutes or maybe 20 minutes, let's say, or I could walk and get home in 45 minutes. And I was like, I'll just walk. Who cares? So I used to do that a lot in Philadelphia.
Right.
I miss it though.
Makes sense.
I can't really do it
Jared,
here.
We've talked about, the fittest and the fattest, Uganda being the clear numero uno. And some of the fattest have been a lot of the islands in Oceania. But I think it's important that we do leave today's episode, Jared, before we get to the song of the pod, with some exercise guidelines. You can call this the Untranslatable Fitness Guide if you want to.
Okay.
I have some guides, and this is exercise guidelines for 19 to 64-year-olds. So if you're 65, I'm sorry, and if you're 18, I'm sorry as well. You're not in our demographic. Exactly. Wait a year or get in your time travel machine and go back a year. All right. So first things first, Jared. You should be having per week at least 150 minutes of moderate aerobic activity or 75 minutes of vigorous aerobic activity every week. So at least 150 minutes. So that's not really too bad. Strength exercises 2 or more days a week that work all of the major muscles. So you want to do some pushing exercises, some pulling exercises.
Who's saying this? Who are you getting this from? Who am I supposed to be listening to right now?
BBC is some of this, and some of this is some Chad knowledge as well.
Okay.
So it's a mixture of BBC and me. All right. So another one is you want to break up long periods of sitting with light activity. And I saw an interesting video the other day, Jared, on YouTube about this guy talking about, and this is something you and I did in undergrad that I might start doing again, which is just doing push-ups throughout the day. There was a guy that said there are actually some really good long-term benefits of just doing push-ups throughout the day, just to kind of sparse your day, get up a little bit, move around, get the blood flowing.
Yeah. I missed at work. I had a standing desk, and I was supposed to get one, and then the person that I was going to get it from, he disappeared. This is what happens when you try to buy things off Facebook Marketplace.
That's fair. You also disappeared off of Facebook, though.
That's true, but it wasn't through my Facebook. But
gotcha.
But yeah, no, I miss the standing desk just because it would sort of cause me to move around and shift a little. Right. I don't know. It was a nice change of pace.
Well, when we were working in offices or when I was teaching, I was walking around a lot. I'd walk around the classroom.
Yeah, that's true.
It makes a big difference. Big difference. Jared, you're probably wondering though, well, Chad, you're telling me these great ways to stay in shape, but you mentioned moderate aerobic activity. What is that? What in the world is that? Well, let me tell you, Jared. Let me tell you. So moderate aerobic activity would be activities is the following. So walking fast, doing some water aerobics, riding a bike on level ground or with a few hills. So you can hop on your mountain bike, Jared, and go for a nice bike ride. Doubles tennis, so not singles. That would be a more vigorous aerobic activity, in case you're wondering, Jared. Interestingly enough, pushing a lawnmower. So don't feel guilty, Jared, once the snow melts and you go out to mow your lawn because you're getting some moderate aerobic activity. Hiking, skateboarding, rollerblading, playing beach volleyball or basketball. So that would be considered moderate aerobic activity. And then vigorous aerobic activity would be jogging or running, swimming fast, riding a bike fast or on hills, singles tennis, football, rugby, skipping rope, hockey, aerobics, gymnastics, martial arts. And I would also include high intensity training as well. And then some strength activities would be obviously lifting weights, using resistance bands. Believe it or not, apparently heavy gardening, which I guess makes sense, Jared. You're carrying a big pile of dirt somewhere, so you're getting some exercise that way. Apparently digging and shoveling is another good way to strengthen your muscles. And this one might surprise some of you, but if you've ever done yoga, yoga can also strengthen your muscles. So there you go, Jared. There's the untranslatable tips for all you people out there hoping to either continue to stay in shape or to get into better shape.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you.
So, Jared, what a big key though on staying fit is as well, Jared?
I no. What is it?
Listening to some good music while you work out.
Some people say that's a crutch.
Why is that a crutch, Jared?
Because it causes you not to properly focus, and you're sort of distracting yourself.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
But listen, you need to make a transition happen, and you'll make a transition happen even if it's not
That's
there.
Right.
So you got to do what you got to do.
Well, and I personally listen to music every time I work out, but apparently I'm just using a crutch, Jared. So
none of my workouts are. That's how I feel. Legit. I actually do too. I need the distraction. I mean,
it's like back in the day. Did you really work out if you didn't post that you were working out on Facebook or Instagram?
Exactly.
Exactly. Well, let's get into our song of the pod, though, which I think is definitely a funky, upbeat, cool song that would be, at least I would enjoy it on a playlist, especially like a skateboard playlist would be a good one. It's called Traveling on Rhythms, and I believe the group is called, it's Bunda something. Let me pull it up here. Sorry, I don't remember which computer. This is what happens when you...
Traveling on Rhythms by... It doesn't even say. I don't even know. Oh, by Big Bud Hunga and his Diplomatic Music.
Yep, exactly. Thank you. Bud Hunga and his Diplomatic Music. And this was actually a group, Jared, I believe from the 70s that was popular in Belgium. And they're kind of like this interesting instrumental Belgian funk. What are your thoughts on the tune for today, Traveling on Rhythms?
Yeah, it's groovy. I hear the funkiness. I like it.
I think my favorite part of this song is I love the horns. The horn arrangements are just fantastic. Adds a whole nother level of like funkiness and energy and soulfulness. I like it. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Me too.
It's a cool one. It's definitely a cool one. So if you're looking for about 3 minutes of funkiness, check this out on our YouTube Song on the Pod playlist, Traveling on Rhythms by Bud Hunga and his Diplomatic, I think, right? But yeah, it's definitely awesome. Check it out. And they have a bunch of other really cool jazz tunes and funk tunes as well. So check those out as well. The entire catalog, I would say, that's just a fun name to say, Bud Hunga.
It is.
It's, I'm sure maybe it has some meaning in, what would that be, Flemish over there in Belgium? Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, or French. I doubt it does, though.
Right. Budhunge? Is that how you'd say it with a French
maybe
accent?
it does, I guess. Flemish is one of the languages that they
Right.
speak there. Maybe it is. I don't know.
Right, exactly. Anyways, check that out. It's definitely a good one. Untranslatable podcast Song on the Pod playlist. Well, Jared, I think we've definitely covered some ground here. I will say I was surprised that a lot of the countries in Oceania were... I figured, to be honest with you, and maybe this just goes to highlight my sadly low perception of my fellow Americans, I figured we would be one of the fattest. But depending on the list, we came in anywhere from 9 to 13, which still isn't great. Still not great.
Sure.
But at least for now, we can't say we're number one in the world as the most fattest. What a bummer. Well, Jared, I hope everyone out there has enjoyed today's episode, talking about the fittest and fattest places. Stay hydrated, as we say. Stay active, and hopefully you will not be one of those people that is added as one of the fatter people out there, if that's what you're trying to avoid. Anyways, we're not here to judge, just here to spread our untranslatables and have a good time. So, as we say here at the Untranslatable Podcast, dziękujemy, muchas gracias, shishi, and do svidania. I don't think I fat shamed anybody too bad in today's episode, did I?
If you feel good about it, that's all that matters.
What?
I said if we feel good about it, that's all that matters.
I mean, yeah. I have no problems with it. We are just talking about what's out there. I don't think we were relaying any new or groundbreaking information.
Yeah.